Joining me on set is Mr. Christopher Buchanan. He's CEO of NCB Capital Markets Barbados. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. How are you doing?
Great. Great to have you in, man. Last time we had to be talking to you on Zoom and so on.
I tell you, the world, how COVID has made us resilient, right? So I'm happy to be able to be back in front of you, face to face, and we can talk it out.
So it's a regional conference. You're here. What is your impressions of this capital markets conference?
So every year the conference gets bigger and better, right? And we are seeing more and more regional players coming in. You will see some international players coming in, offering their insights. And what I'm seeing is the level of connectiveness every year grows stronger and stronger at the JSC conference, and I'm looking forward to how that connectiveness, translates into more regional business and things going forward.
We can't speak regional, Chris, without talking about Guyana. I mean, it's on the lips of everybody. All the countries in the Caribbean region are looking at what's happening in Guyana, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Is that important? Is that one of the windows of opportunity for this region?
Of course, definitely. So when we look at Guyana, we are seeing an enormous boom that has not fully trickled down to the common man in Guyana, right? And which means that there's still an opportunity to get in on the ground floor. And it means that where there are inefficiencies, where there is anything lacking, us as Caribbean brothers and sisters need to assist, need to lend our hand and our skills and resources. And I think by doing that, we will also benefit from that enormous boom. And it's in my opinion that our brothers and sisters in Guyana want us to come down here and help them participate in that great boom that is coming.
Is the capital markets ready? Is the regional capital markets ready for what is happening over there? Are we ready to get in on the ground floor, as you say, help to drive that growth and not necessarily wait on the international big names to come in?
Where I think we have to partner with the commercial banks there, because there's still a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done. Everybody has to get their hands dirty in order to create, the path that we all think and see it going, or the direction it's going in. So capital markets and the traditional banks have to work together in order to create that level of synergies to be able to bring growth at a faster pace. So right now, it is really the commercial banks just plugging away. But if they are able to access different types of capital to de-risk those opportunities from commercial banking, that is really, remember, commercial banking is taking depositors' money. They can only take on a certain amount of risk. But if we are able to mobilize patient capital that can help add that level of equity so that the ratios look better, the banks feel safer, and they are more likely to push, in getting those opportunities off the ground. So we have to work together.
Great. And while there are opportunities in Guyana, the rest of the region is still open, still doing business. You're in Barbados. What are you seeing in Barbados for 2024?
Well, I think Barbados is currently, poised to take off again. I know COVID would have, hit them, or hit us. I'm a resident Bajan. Right, you don't hear it in my accent yet, but it's coming. But right now, as tourism continues to recover, and it is recovering in such a fast pace, that what you're going to find is that there will be opportunities there from a capital market standpoint and from an infrastructure standpoint. I know the government is looking to roll out several different areas, from the hospital to the water, the ports. All of these different projects are there, and that investment in infrastructure is then going to ensure that it trickles down. And you know how them say that business follow road, road don't follow business. So you just need to put the infrastructure in place so that then the ecosystem will then follow. And I think there are a lot of things in the pipeline, and NCB Capital Markets hopes to be a big part of that.
Barbados has traditionally looked at funding not necessarily in terms of a very strong growing equity market, although the market is there. Is there likely to be a change in that? Are we likely to see more growth in the Barbados equity markets, or will that take some time to even further develop and deepen?
I believe it will take some time, and it is a function of the fact that for Bajan dollars, it is almost two worlds: the global market and internally in Barbados. Meaning that because of the FX restrictions, right? You find that there's a lot of liquidity in the market, and that liquidity means rates are very low. So this is the best time for you to want to go to a commercial bank, right? So because of that, the funding there is cheaper in terms of how you want to invest. The challenge is that if you don't meet the hurdles, right, from a risk perspective, the money may be cheap, but you'll never get access to it. So what you need to have is somebody on the other side that is looking at below the capital structure to say, hey, you need patient capital, right? And that way you'll be able to not only access bank financing, but when it is that you grow, you can then access, move to the stock exchange in a way. And what we are promoting is cross-listing. So it shouldn't just be about how are we, going to the stock exchange just in Barbados. But can we go for equity in Barbados, and can we go for equity in Jamaica? Can we go for equity in Barbados, and can we go in on the TTSE? So how can we make it more regional by cross-listing these entities?
So it's truly time to be moving across the markets in a real way.
Correct. And if we can have synergies with the various stock exchanges in terms of the movement of shares, right, in a safe and efficient manner, I believe that capital can then move from territory to territory seamlessly and be able to go into projects that need it in various areas.
Excellent. Jamaica has been growing. Trinidad has seen some recovery. We know Guyana and what that story is. Barbados, as you said, is strongly recovering now. But the elephant in the room, Chris, is the international space. So yes, we've seen the Fed and the ECB and all of them signaling that we're at the end of the tightening cycle. But at the same time, there's the geopolitical tensions, whether in Russia, Ukraine. Now we're seeing the Houthi attacks because of what is happening down in Israel and Gaza, and attacks in the Red Sea. Are these likely to have any impact on our local situation and the possibilities for growth?
Unfortunately, yes. The simple answer is yes. When a lot of these countries sneeze, them say we catch cold, right? And we will be impacted, by these developments as inflation continues to be grappled with in the US. Their rates become high. And I think I was talking about in terms of the risk premiums. So when it is that those risk premiums are high, then, for investments in the Caribbean, they add risk premiums on top of that. And before you know it, in any project, you're in double digits, maybe even in the 20s, depending on the type of investment that you're looking at. So, and it is unfortunate that we are affected by these things. But where we have done well is that we have a level of stability here in Jamaica. So the international community has seen us in a very favorable way. So, and if you look at how our bonds trade, it doesn't necessarily trade like a double B minus. It trades more like a triple B minus, right? So while it is that the rating agencies have, from the fundamentals are looking a particular way, the sentiment of the market that looks on Jamaica is actually much stronger.
So I'm happy you looked at the ratings agencies and the ratings that currently exist, and really the strength of our stability, especially in terms of exchange rates and relative the stable interest rates. Are there ways to mitigate against some of what we see likely to come from international so that we continue with relative stability in terms of the statistics and the dollar and so on, while at the same time continue to push that growth agenda?
So yes, so there are tactics that we can use to mitigate for some of them. The most important is to diversify our earnings as a country, and I think Jamaica has done a really good job in terms of moving away from how dependent we were on tourism and to a lesser extent agriculture at one point in time, and we are much more a manufacturing society. We're in terms of how deep the market is in terms of goods and services, and that way we're able to mitigate the different types of shocks that come to us. So diversification is always the real way against market risk. I think that's probably the biggest one that I would say that you mitigate. Everything else you have to ride the wave. If you look at our dependence on oil and how we're trying to move towards more renewable type energy, that over time will lessen our dependence on the shocks to that market, and of course that is definitely affected by external conflicts, etc. So if we are more energy dependent from maybe the sun, maybe if we can get some hydro, different forces, I hear talk of nuclear and all these things, right? So the more energy dependent we are, I believe we are less susceptible to these shocks.
All right, Chris, it was a great chat. Certainly looking forward to some of the happenings in 2024. I'm sure we'll be talking as the year goes by. We're looking at things across the region and share ideas. Thank you very much again.
Thank you for having me, sir.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.